If you grew up in 1950s America, you know that setting the Christmas table wasn't just about arranging plates. It was about creating a stage. It was a ceremony. It was a visual declaration that this meal mattered, that your family, gathered together, deserved beauty, deserved formality, deserved the very best you had to offer. The table had to be perfect, it had to be worthy of the occasion, and setting it started early, long before the turkey went into the oven, before the first knock of a guest at the door. You needed time, you needed quiet, you needed to do this right. This wasn't a chore to be rushed through. It was an act of love, a quiet, focused ritual that set the tone for the entire day. It was your contribution to the magic of Christmas, a silent promise of the feast and fellowship to come. This was the calm before the joyous, wonderful storm of family arriving. First came the tablecloth, not just any tablecloth, the good tablecloth. For most, this meant crisp, white linen, ironed to absolute perfection. It lived in the linen closet, carefully wrapped in tissue paper, brought out only for Christmas, Thanksgiving, maybe Easter. Unfolding it was like unveiling a treasure. Or, your family was a bit fancier, and yours was a lace tablecloth, an heirloom passed down through generations, delicate and intricate. Perhaps it was a festive cloth, with poinsettias or holly embroidered by hand along the edges. Whatever it was special. You spread it carefully across the vast expanse of the dining room table, smoothing out every potential wrinkle. You checked the edges, making sure it hung evenly on all sides. This was the foundation. The clean, perfect canvas upon which the masterpiece of the Christmas table would be built. Next came the plates, the good china, the set that spent the other 364 days of the year behind the glass doors of the china cabinet, a silent, beautiful audience to everyday life. This was the set your mother received as a wedding gift, or the one she inherited from her mother. Each plate was placed with precision, centered perfectly in front of each chair, aligned just so. Maybe yours was a classic white with a delicate, understated pattern, a thin gold or silver trim that caught the light. Or, it featured a gentle floral design, a reminder of spring in the heart of winter. It was traditional. It was beautiful. Then, the silverware, real silver, most likely, which meant you or your mother spent part of the day before polishing every single piece until it gleamed, removing any hint of tarnish. The placement was an unspoken rule, a piece of etiquette learned and never forgotten. The fork, or forks, went on the left. The knife went on the right, its blade turned inward, toward the plate. The spoon, or spoons, nestled right next to the knife. It was proper, it was the way it should be. And the glasses, crystal, of course. The water goblet and perhaps a wine glass, placed just above the knife at the upper right. They stood like sentinels, catching the afternoon light streaming through the window, sparkling and throwing tiny rainbows onto the white cloth. Napkins were never paper on Christmas. They were cloth, starched and ironed, matching the tablecloth. You folded them into a neat rectangle, a fan, or even a bishop's mitre if you were feeling ambitious. They were placed either in the center of the plate, waiting like a gift, or to the left of the forks. Every detail mattered. Now, for the heart of the table, the centerpiece. This was critical. It was the focal point, the element that tied everything together. It usually started with tall, elegant taper candles, red, white, or maybe a deep evergreen. They stood in shining silver or heavy brass candlesticks. 2, or perhaps 4, creating a perfect, comforting symmetry. Around the base of the candles, you'd arrange nature's own decorations. Fresh pine boughs, brought in from the cold, their fragrance filling the room with the unmistakable scent of Christmas. You'd tuck in sprigs of holly, its waxy green leaves and bright red berries adding a festive pop of color. Maybe some trailing ivy, or a few carefully chosen glass ornaments scattered among the greenery, tiny mirrored balls reflecting the candle light. Pine cones, maybe some with their tips painted white to look like snow, were added for texture. And finally, a ribbon woven through it all, a lush red velvet or a shimmering gold, looping gracefully through the pine. The key was to create something stunning, but to keep it low enough so that everyone could see each other across the table. It had to be beautiful, but it also had to be functional. With the main elements in place, it was time for the final touches. Some families used place cards, telling everyone where to sit. Sometimes they were store-bought, elegant little cards. More often, they were homemade, with each name written in careful script, perhaps by your father, or decorated with crayon drawings by the children. They added a personal, formal touch to the gathering. The salt and pepper shakers, the good ones, made of crystal or silver, not the everyday kitchen set, were placed on the table. Gleaming trivets were laid out, ready to receive the hot, heavy dishes straight from the oven. A beautiful cut glass butter dish was filled with softened butter. Everything was planned, everything was positioned, everything was in its place. A silent, beautiful tableau, waiting for the food, waiting for the family. Do you remember setting the Christmas table? Did your family have special china that only came out for the holidays? A tablecloth you had to be extra careful around? Share your memories of your family's traditions in the comments below. We'd love to read them. When the table was finally set, you'd take a step back. You'd look at the whole picture from the doorway of the dining room. Was it balanced? Was it beautiful? Was it worthy of Christmas? You might step forward again to make a tiny adjustment. Nudge a candle holder a quarter of an inch. Straighten a napkin that was slightly askew. Realign a fork that wasn't perfectly parallel with the others. This wasn't obsessive. It was care. This mattered. This was your art. This was your gift to the family before any presents were even unwrapped. And then, it was done. The table sat ready. Empty, but full of promise. It was an invitation. Waiting for the chairs to be filled, for the plates to be loaded with turkey and stuffing, for the joyful noise of conversation and laughter to flow. The stage was set for the main event. When Christmas dinner was finally served, this table would be the center of your world, the heart of the home, the one place where everyone came together, sharing food, sharing stories, sharing love. It was more than a piece of furniture. It was the vessel for your family's Christmas spirit. If this brought back memories of white linen tablecloths, polished silver, and centerpieces made with fresh pine and candles, give this video a thumbs up. And subscribe to Yesterday for more stories that bring the past to life. We are here to preserve the care, the formality, and the beautiful traditions that turned a simple meal into a sacred gathering. Because yesterday never truly disappeared. It just spread a crisp tablecloth, placed the good china carefully, and reminded us all that some moments, and some people, deserve our very best. Thanks for watching.